Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. Let's just do some last minute take home points on tongue ties, airway, myo, specifically talking about fee for service office versus insurance driven offices, as well as just dealing with surviving patients versus thriving patients, talking about some of the marketing, and then also friendly reminder, this was a really great podcast that I listened to, so I really want to give Mike DeLuke some props again on another just amazing podcast where he's just everything he's saying is correct. So it's rare that I hear a podcast where there's no Kool-Aid, so if there's not, I'm going to tell you guys to follow and to listen to this episode 149. Okay, so just some key points just to kind of bring home this whole topic, and then I think I've beat it to death. Um, we've talked about a little bit more about tongue tie releases in infants versus older kids and adults, and how a lot of times tongue ties in infants is just the surgery only. A lot of times the providers aren't familiar with what exercises are needed before and after. And as a result, a lot of times releases in infants don't work out. So just because they weren't quite done properly. There's a reason why OMT is paired with surgery. It retrains muscle memory. It addresses the compensations that can happen. So when you have a problem with your airway, you're going to use accessory muscles like neck muscles in order to be able to get a latch or get a suction. And when you just cut the tether, especially if there's a posterior tongue tie, well, now all of a sudden there's this like loose tongue that doesn't know what it's doing, and you haven't retrained it to do what it needs to do, and it's never gonna know how to do things properly. So that concerns me, that people are just like willy-nilly releasing kids. And as a matter of fact, if you go to the other AAL, the American Association of Otolaryngology, the ENT AAL, they actually say that it is discouraged from ever doing pediatric releases without a need for them and without without following up and accountability. So they actually said that's not standard of care. And I think what kind of bothers me, there's a lot of dentists that are just getting the space and they're just taking a weekend course, and now they're just like, I hate to say it, but mutilating infants. I mean, I know that you guys don't think this is mutilation, but I do know that there's a lot more going on that probably needs to go on. And I don't think there's standardization in terms of tongue tie releases in infants. I think in older kids, with the exercises, the release and the exercise, that's standardized. I don't think the infant stuff is standardized, and it does really bother me, to be honest, and I'm not the only one. So here's some of the risks of doing surgery without OMT exercises. First of all, tissue reattachment, persistent symptoms, partial success, and then surgical relapse as well. So all things to keep in mind. We've already talked about how it works in older children. I already did another video on how it works in babies in terms of colic. So that's basically the main points I wanted to go over. Just keep in mind that, yeah, in an insurance driven office, I mean, it does worry me a lot taking cases, even if the parents sign off saying, I realize that there is a myo issue, I'm choosing to ignore it. Yeah, that's a hard no for me, because I know I know how insurance companies like to get involved and how to try, they like to force your hand. I think if you had a cash option, and if you just kind of did a pay as you go type of thing where they're paying for overhead, they're paying for lab fees, and then they're paying a monthly fee to be seen, kind of like we talked about in that previous video I made about the newer version of how I'd practice orthodontics, the medical model. I think that's what you have to do. And that way, if there's any point where the myo issue is becoming a bigger issue, either of you can just end it, and we're good. We don't have this promise to finish a case or anything like that. And to be honest, anytime there is a major myo issue, it's not going to go predictably, and it's going to take a lot longer. So you should get paid extra for your time. So that's why I think the monthly model works with, fees for, say, Invisalign. There's going to be a fee for diagnostics. There's going to be a fee for records. There's going to be a lab fee, and all of that together is maybe going to be 4 or 5 grand. Then we're going to have a monthly fee, regardless of whether they come in every month. It's just a monthly fee of them being part of our service of, $100 a month or whatever. That's going to get auto billed. And then at any point when they want to stop, they can stop. Retainers will be an additional fee. Retainer checks will be an additional fee. So, I mean, I think you'd have to kind of build that. And I think it's a lot easier to do stuff like that. And I'd feel a lot more comfortable taking myo cases, because I've had some cases where I'm sure that there is myo, but they end up going well, and we check them later and they're still going well. I mean, maybe we use really good retention and stuff like that, but are there times when they outgrow it? Yeah, I do think there are, but I think there's many more times when they don't. And I think when these cases turn into train wrecks, and then later it's like, well, we told you to go to Mayo, and then they're like, well, you didn't make me go, but you still started the case. Now whose fault is it, right? So, all right. So I definitely recommend this podcast. Check it out. And yeah, I mean, it really is not enjoyable in orthodontics when you know that this patient is just surviving and not thriving, and you know you're just whatever you're doing is not going to make them better because the parents aren't willing to put the cost in and put the effort into what they need to do. But how much of this is really the parents' fault, and how much is it our fault for not intervening earlier? Because I mean, a lot of this mile stuff could have been intervened easily at age 1, 2, 3, and we waited until 12 or 13, and it's just too long. These patterns are ingrained. So, all right. So hopefully this was inspiring, if not a little stressful, but definitely something we should talk about. Thanks.